Well, I don't think anyone was surprised at all by this headline, but it does kind of explain exactly what we've all been feeling. You know how you've been watching these Marvel movies and you're feeling less and less excited about going to them? You've kind of just accepted that they don't really care about the lore or what's canon, whether it's Star Wars or it's Marvel. They're more concerned with essentially rewriting these characters as like woke replacements or self-inserts, or like in the case of strong white male characters in Marvel, they're more interested in turning them into a joke. I mean, Thor is the perfect example, isn't it? I mean, they turn the guy into the butt of the joke, and then they, for like 2 straight movies, and he's basically become comedic relief when he's probably the most like BA character that Marvel's got available in their lineup, at least the modern lineup. And you know, it's so like obvious what they're doing that now we know exactly why. And I'm going to get into that after a quick word from this video's sponsor. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so they can call themselves a lord or a lady officially. In return, they commit to plant a tree with every order and protect the beautiful, pristine woodlands of Scotland. Established Titles makes an absolutely amazing gift, and a person could officially get their name changed on documents. Their title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate and an official certificate with a crest. Established Titles is currently having a really big sale just for you, my subscribers. You can get an additional 10% off any purchase you make with the discount code TheQuartering. So click the link below, go to establishedtitles.com/TheQuartering and use promo code TheQuartering to save an extra 10% today. Now, Marvel Studios producer considers it a quote red flag if a prospective writers is an original or fans of the original comics. Prefers to hire somebody who's quote out of the culture. Interesting. Maybe that's why they keep hiring all these soy-infused losers that pretend. You know, it's like you always knew something was kind of off when they were like, oh, when these people kept saying like, oh yeah, I've been a fan of Thor since whatever. And then they'd get something like pretty obvious wrong, or they'd only talk about, you know, recent Thor or whatever the case may be. Here's the article from Bounding into Comics' Spencer Baculi. Or Bachuli, I'm not exactly sure. As if it wasn't obvious enough from simply watching any of the studio's post-Infinity War output, producer Nate Moore has revealed that he believes the key to Marvel Studios' success is hiring writers who are, quote, out of the comic book culture over anyone who loves the source material. Think about that. They don't care about comic book fans. They don't. They want normie fans. They want Big Bang Theory numbers. You know, people kept saying, oh, I like Big Bang Theory. And that's fine, but they weren't laughing with you. They were laughing at you. And like people are, oh, Big Bang Theory, mainstream nerd culture. No, it didn't. It was making fun of nerds. Moore, whose career has seen him serve as a producer for such Marvel Cinematic Universe's entries as Captain America Civil War, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and most recently Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, shared his insight into Marvel Studios' hiring philosophy during an appearance on a podcast, the Ringerstown Podcast. Speaking with host Matthew Belloni about his general experience working for a Disney subsidiary, Moore was eventually asked if there's some kind of Marvel boot camp or something that you do with these filmmakers to ingratiate them into the world and knowing all the things that they need to know, to which the producer confirmed, not really. Quote, noting that some Marvel writers grew up reading and collecting comics such as Avengers Endgame co-director Joe Russo and Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. Moore told Belloni that one thing I think is interesting, and specifically for writers, I would say, is a lot of times we're pitched writers who love Marvel, and to me, that's always a red flag. Always. Quote, I don't want you to already have a pre-existing idea of what is, because you grew up with the comics and that's what you want to recreate. Think about that statement. Now you know why Thor Love and Thunder sucked. Now you know why Doctor Strange sucked. That's how you know why all these characters suck, right? He literally said, I don't want somebody who loved the comic book and understands the character to ever work writing a book about that character or participating in creating content around that character. He's literally just telling you that. I want someone who's going to be hard on the material, who can go, what is this? I think there's a movie here, but we should be looking at it in a different way. Offering up an example of what he's looking for in prospective writers, more than pointing to the Captain America trilogy writers, Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who weren't comic book guys growing up, but were, wait, Captain America, this seems a bit weird. What if we kind of looked at it in this way? Yeah, like making him terrible. What if we made Captain America a crappy character and we turned him into the villain? Like, is that what you want? And they weren't married to anything and nothing was sacrosanct. I think that's so dumb, because if you grow up knowing just because you grew up knowing the comic book character or knowing the story or knowing the lore, that doesn't mean that you aren't going to love it, that you aren't going to, accept changes to it. Just because that's the case, that doesn't mean that you're like married to the character the way they initially were. I've grew up with a lot of characters. There are a lot of things that I would accept about changing He-Man, except turning him into a puss bag, soy beta male who's constantly pushed around by a woman with the haircut. You know, there's that kind of stuff that I don't like. That has nothing to do with me growing up with the character. It has everything to do with, me recognizing the emasculation of strong male characters in film and in entertainment, because that's on purpose. Quote, I think it's important to go look at the source material is great, and I love it, and comics work great in the medium that they were built in, but that's not a direct one-to-one translation to the best version of the movie. Fair, I agree. Sometimes it takes someone out who's out of the culture to go, hey, I know you think it should be this, but maybe it should be this other thing. Yeah, ask Taika Waititi how that turned out for his Thor movies. How basically Chris Hemsworth came out and said, without saying his name, that he's not interested in working with him anymore. Maybe Chris Hemsworth is a little tired of them turning his character into like a laughing stock. He signed up to play this totally BA world-saving superhero, and he's been reduced to a fat joke. That's what it is. The tone of Ragnarok is all Taika, because he wasn't married to Thor on the page, concluded the producer, believing himself to be complimenting the director rather than hitting the nail on the head as to why so many fans have been turned off by Taika Waititi's God of Thunder. I haven't read every Thor book. I have read a lot. I could tell you that a run that is tonally, I couldn't tell you a run that's anything tonally like Ragnarok. Look, I actually think Ragnarok is a fine movie, but I didn't need another Ragnarok in terms of Love and Thunder, which barely broke even. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Thor can't pull $1 billion in the movie theater? Maybe it has something to do with the director. I know it's all pew-pews and cool and threesomes and stuff with Taika Waititi, but regular everyday fans of Thor don't want to see the guy, first of all, play the same damn role 3 times in a row. I'm finding myself. I'm seeking myself. Then, second of all, see him emasculated. See him losing constantly to stronger, more witty women, and be turned to the butt of the joke basically in every Taika Waititi movie. And like including in Endgame. He was basically a joke in Endgame. Maybe that's why people don't want to go see Thor movies in the theater. And now Marvel just admits it. That like, and look, I understand what maybe he's trying to say in that, like, we don't want to hire super fans who are immovable objects and say that, no, this is the lore and this is the way it should be. But that's not what he said. He just says, oh, it's a red flag if they actually like the books. Well, let's see how, the box office goes. Thor Love and Thunder did not do well in the box office. I mean, it grossed a bunch of money, but it didn't make a lot. Doctor Strange did. Spider-Man No Way Home certainly crushed it. There's really no denying the success of that movie. The Eternals sucked. Shang-Chi underperformed. Black Widow underperformed, but with an asterisk because, that was like really the first big movie out of the lockdowns and stuff like that. So Like, we're gonna have to see, the original Black Panther. It'll be Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will be one of the first Marvel sequels that didn't outperform the original. Think about that. Maybe it's because they keep hiring writers who are out of the culture. Maybe somebody in the culture would say, hey, I get the laughing goats thing. Okay, you can do this. But like, maybe don't make Thor a fat loser. Okay? And playing video games. Like, that's a little too on the nose for the culture. They basically turned Thor into what they thought of their own fans in Endgame. Right? Like, it was just pathetic. And now we know why. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it and you click that subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.